Today is Who Am I? The famous topic of Tiruvannamalai. We have yesterday seen a little bit related to the eye consciousness. What is really the eye consciousness? For example, we are staying here in the night. There is no light. It is totally dark. We cannot see anything. When we bring a candle, in the candle light, we can see everything in the room. Many persons are sitting. There are many objects are there in the room. We can see all the things with the help of the candlelight. If there is no candlelight, we cannot see anything. Everything is dark, totally dark. With the help of the candlelight alone, we can see many objects. If you want to see the candle itself, shall we bring another candle to see the candle? The candle is self-evident. It shows itself. It shows the object as well as itself also. We need not bring another candlelight to see the earlier candle. So it is self-evident. So those which is having self-evident nature, without the help of any other thing, those which is having self-evident nature is known as consciousness. Consciousness will reveal itself. We need not know other thing. It will reveal itself. It is self-evident nature. It shows itself. So those which is showing itself, having some self-evident nature, is known as consciousness. Do you have any idea about consciousness? Are we having some consciousness? We think we are here. We feel we are here. What we feel is consciousness. For example, we fall down in the ground and got some injury in the leg, and it is painful. The leg is painful. How do you know the pain of the leg? With the help of the candlelight? No candlelight is necessary. The pain is self-evident. We can feel the pain itself. So somebody is telling us, I am very happy. I have many problems in my mind. I have some pain in my mind. I have a tension in my mind. I have fear in my mind. How do you feel the fear? How do you feel the tension? How do you feel the happiness? With the help of this candlelight? No candlelight is needed. So it is also a consciousness. All happiness, fear, anxiety, tension, everything is a kind of feeling. It is also self-evident nature. It shows itself. So if it is shows itself, it is having self-evident. What all having self-evident nature is known as consciousness. For example, there is a big tree in front of us. We clearly see the structure of the tree. We can see the entire tree, how huge it is, we can feel, we can look at this tree. It is not a false, it is not an illusion, it is an actual fact. We can look at the tree. But when we close our eyes, we cannot see. So if you open again, the tree will be there. But in the same way, can we hide our consciousness? For example, we are having pain in our leg, we are having some fear in our mind. Can we hide it? You cannot hide. As you hide as you close your eyes towards the tree, you cannot hide yourself. So, what is having self-identity, self-evident nature, without having any capacity to hide it, that is consciousness. It is real. It is not false. It is not illusory. It is here and now. We feel our anger, we feel our fear, we feel our tension, we feel our happiness. So in this way, we feel our pain of our leg, or if we have some fever or anything, we can feel the pain of our body. It is all these things are consciousness. But in the scriptures, they are saying that if you understand what is the difference between Atma and Anatma, thereby we can have self-realization. And we can be free from the Anatma and we can be with Atma. So they classify into two categories. One is Atma and another one is Anatma. We have to understand the difference between the Atma and Anatma. And what is Atma and what is Anatma? So we find the consciousness is self-evident nature. We cannot hide the consciousness. Is it Atma? What is Anatma? There are many objects in the world. Somebody also, some monk has told whether the entire world is Maya. He asked a question like this. So whether the entire world is Maya, whether the entire world is Anatma, shall we have to understand that the entire world is Anatma? We need not, the entire world is not Anatma. According to the scriptures, the consciousness, the self-evident consciousness is Anatma. We feel the existence of consciousness. We cannot hide the consciousness. It is self-evident. But the self-evident consciousness is Anatma. And we have to understand the limitation of consciousness. We have to understand the limitation of Anatma. Then only we can free from Anatma. We can free from our consciousness. And thereby we can step into Atma. But does not mean we cannot feel, we can feel Atma. Atma we cannot feel. That is known as awareness. Awareness is the basic structure of consciousness. But the consciousness is coming and going. For example, at one time you may be happy, the next time you may have some tension, the next time you may have fear, the next time you may have anger. So everything will come on again and again. But when it is appearing, it is real. But it is a momentary existence. For the time being, it is real. We cannot hide it. But in the next moment, it will go away from us. We cannot rely upon anything. We cannot have a permanent consciousness forever. So consciousness, the very nature of consciousness is momentary. But when it appears, in that moment it is real. But in the next moment it is not real. It will go away. the next consciousness will come. Moment by moment, new consciousness alone can come. But whenever it is coming, we cannot hide our consciousness. It is real for us. But the awareness is the basic structure of our consciousness. For example, we are having tongue. With the help of our tongue, we taste many kind of tastes. Some sweet, some bitter taste, some sour taste, so many tastes. A single tongue shows many kind of tastes. But the taste will go away very soon. But the sensitivity of the tongue is different. We cannot feel the sensitivity of the tongue. The sensitivity of the tongue is the basic structure of all our taste. But the basic sensitivity is not a particular taste. It don't have any taste. But if you want to taste the tongue, it is impossible. It is there. We can infer. The sensitivity of the tongue, we can infer. It is the real. But we cannot feel as if we can feel the consciousness. We cannot feel the sensitivity of the tongue. But actually, the awareness of the tongue, the sensitivity of the tongue is the more real. That is absolute reality, but we cannot feel. What we can feel is only the expression of the absolute reality. Whatever we, whether in the name of eye consciousness or whether in the name of some emotion or anything, everything is a consciousness. Everything is anatma. Even though you feel I am, the I am is anatma. It is, but the reality behind the I consciousness is real. But the reality we cannot feel. But what we can feel is only consciousness. The main thing is that the liberation, the enlightenment is that we have to give total freedom to the consciousness. We should not catch hold of any consciousness forever. It is real. We cannot catch hold of any consciousness. But whenever we identify ourselves as I am, some thought process is there. Without the thought process, we cannot have the feeling of I am. We cannot have the particulars of I am. We cannot have the identity of ourselves. So all those identity is supplied by our thought. And behind that, our consciousness is also there. And behind the consciousness, the awareness is there. But what we feel is only the consciousness and the thought. With the help of the thought and the consciousness alone, we can identify the I consciousness. Otherwise, the basic structure of our I consciousness is we cannot feel. But what we think, we have to feel the I consciousness just like a taste of our tongue. It is not at all a taste. It is not at all a sensation. It is not at all a consciousness. But everything comes from that. Without the awareness, without the basic reality, no consciousness can exist. Everything comes from the awareness. But the real fact is related to the consciousness alone. So what we have to do with the consciousness, that matters. So what we have to do with the consciousness, that is the important thing. But if the consciousness wants to go to the real I am, if the consciousness wants to find out the real I am, the real awareness, thereby we are giving importance to the consciousness. If you don't give any importance to the consciousness, it comes and goes away. If you give any responsibility to the consciousness, it will try in many ways and try to retain the consciousness forever. So, we should not give any responsibility to the consciousness. The consciousness should not have any responsibility to find out the reality. So, whatever may be the consciousness, it has to come and disappear. That is the fate of the consciousness. That is the reality of the consciousness. But we can make use of the consciousness with the external circumstances. As we have externally, we may have some activities, we may have some status, we have some role of our life. For that, we can make use of our consciousness. If we have, if we want to think, if we want to plan, everything is done with the help of the consciousness. If we have some interest or to do something, we can make use of the interest. If you have some hatred upon something, we can get away from the thing. So everything we can make use of that. If you are afraid of the snake, you can get away from the snake. You can go away from the snake. If you are afraid of some danger, we can get away from it. With the help of the fear, we can get ourselves away from the thing, from the danger. For the external activities, we can make use of our consciousness. But in itself, consciousness will not have any use. We have to totally accept our consciousness as natural. We have to allow it to appear and disappear. We have to give total freedom to our consciousness. We should not restrict any consciousness. I want this consciousness is very good. I want to be the consciousness forever. This is not good. Somebody who may have some bliss consciousness when we have doing some meditation. If we retain our bliss consciousness, it is very nice. If you think like that, it will destroy the health of your body. So all those things are for the beginners. And if you go away from the stage of a beginner, then you can dismiss all your consciousness. You need not dismiss it is momentary. It will on itself it will go away. It will disappear. We need not dismiss anything. But we should not select. We should not catch hold of anything. We need not deal with any consciousness. Yesterday also we have discussed a bit of things. We look everything with the help of our thought. Now we are having an idea that I am existing. I am living, I am a person from the birth to now itself. I am a continuous person, I am a permanent person, permanent entity. I am having a name and form, I have a body, I have a profession or anything. We have an idea about ourselves. But when we are in deep sleep, there is no I am. But if in the dream, if in the sleep, if we have a dream in the sleep, and in the dream we have the I am, the feeling of I am. So in the present moment and in the dream moment, the common factor is our thought. The thought is present in our day-to-day life, in the waking state, and in the dream state also, the thought process is there. The thought process alone is responsible to construct the I consciousness, to give a shape to that I consciousness. Otherwise there is no I consciousness. We have to construct ourselves. Our thought has constructed ourselves to be somebody. With the help of our memory, it constructed. Each and every moment, our thought is doing the same thing. If there is no thought, there is no I am. But related to the thought, is there any constant thought? The thought is also a momentary one. Each and every moment, new thought alone can come. Maybe similar. The similar thought may come, but even though it is similar, it is a new thought. Moment by moment, it is a new thought. There cannot be any single thought forever. It is a momentary for each and every second, each and every fraction of second, new thought alone can come. So whatever is constructed, whatever is created by the thought is also momentary. So if the I consciousness created by the thought also momentary. The construction created by the thought is momentary. Moment by moment it created a new I consciousness. But even though we may feel I am existing forever from the birth to the death, I am existing as a single person, as a constant person, it is only because of our memory, because of our thought. The thought thinks like that. It constructs like that. But actually, moment by moment new. To demonstrate this idea, there are many stories here in this India. There are many stories to explain this thing. I don't know whether I have cited an example of a monk or some saint doing some meditation on the bank of a river. And some villagers, women, they are used to sell milk and curd. They are crossing the river and sold their products in the next village. And in the evening they have to return the river. One day, when they cross the river, the water is very shallow. They can very easily cross the river and sold their property, some products in the next village, and return to their own village in the evening. And the river is full of water with some flood. They cannot, they are unable to cross the river. So they all seek the help of the saint who doing meditation on the bank of the river. So the saint asked the women, I am very hungry, please give some food for me and I will help for the crossing the river. And they all provided some milk and curd, and he consumed a lot and free from this hungry. Then he goes near the river water and pray the river, O river, if I am not eating any food and maintaining a fasting, please give way to the women. He prayed like this. And the river also give way to the women. And one of the disciples of the saint was very surprised. In front of us he has eaten many things, but he told the river as if he has not eaten anything. And the river also accepted his version and give way to the women. What happening here? So here also the message is the same. The I am is moment by moment new. There is no constant I am. The person who is eating the milk is another person, and the person who is asking to give way is another person. So he has not eaten anything. So it is a indirect way, just through some story they will give you the message like this. Actually, moment by moment we are new. There are no old. So what is in the form of consciousness is moment by moment new. But we have to apply all those things psychologically alone. We have already discussed yesterday what is physical and what is psychological. So all these facts can be understood with related to the psychological aspect. But the physical aspect, we are a permanent entity. For example, I borrowed 10,000 rupees or dollars from you today. Tomorrow you ask me to give back the amount. The person who has borrowed the amount has gone yesterday. Today I am new person. I cannot give you. You cannot say like this. But the physical fact is different. Physical fact is concerned, we are a permanent person. But psychologically, we are not a permanent. We are momentary. Which and every moment we are new. The person who has come here is somebody else, and the person who is leaving the place is somebody else. That is an actual fact related to the psychological thing. So psychologically, everything is momentary. So that is, in the scriptures it is known as anatma. So what we feel in the name of I am is purely anatma. It is not atma. It is not absolute reality. But it is created by reality. Nothing can exist without the help of reality. With the help of awareness alone, we are existing. Our consciousness is existing. If there is no awareness, there is no reality, we cannot exist. The consciousness cannot exist. The basic sensitivity, the basic awareness is the cause for our consciousness. There is no doubt about it. We can infer the reality, but we cannot try to experience the reality. We can experience consciousness, but we cannot experience the reality. So that is the basic structure of our I consciousness. And the I consciousness in the psychological world creates many mischief. As we have told one example. For example, when we are walking along the road, some big vehicle is coming towards us. We have to move away from the vehicle. We have to fix ourselves as some fixed thing, and we have to move away from the vehicle. So externally, there are duality. There are many things. We are somebody, the other things are somebody, the other persons are somebody. That is externally. But psychologically, we are a single person. We are single entity. Within the single entity, within the single structure of ourselves, we may have some different kind of experiences. One time we may have some pleasure, happiness. The other time we may have some tension, fear, anxiety, many things we may have. And in that time, when we have some happiness or anything or peace of mind, we want to be always in the peace of mind. But when we want to have some fear or sorrow, we want to be free from sorrow. We want to be free from the fear. So here, the nature of our thought, if you look anything with the help of a thought, it divides into two. For example, when you look at a tree, whenever you look at the tree, the tree is an object. The same thought which identifies the tree, with the help of the same thought, you identify yourself as somebody who is looking at the tree. There is no two thoughts at the same time. A single thought defines you, the single thought shows you, at the same time the single thought shows the tree also. So each and every thought creates an object and subject. That is the very nature of thought. If you analyze any segment of thought, each and every segment of thought, there is a subject and object. So that is the very nature of thought. So in this way, if you look at your emotions, for example, we have some fear. If you look at the emotion of fear, the very thought which identifies the fear creates the personality, the subject who is having the fear. So only with the intervention of the thought alone, there is some duality of the observer and the observed, the experiencer and the experienced. Actually, there is only experience alone. But only because of our thought, we divide the experience into two parts. Only the experiencer, the other one is the experience. Actually, the distinction is illusory. There is no meaning in that. We can, but the thought is helpful to distinguish everything in the world. Then only we can act. Then only we can live in this world. If we cannot distinguish ourselves from the vehicle which is coming towards us, we cannot escape from the vehicle. So we have to distinguish. Our thought has the duty to distinguish everything. But psychologically, if the thought doing the same thing, it creates a mischief. We want to go away from our thought. We have to go away from our fear. We have to go away from our sorrow. Actually, there is no duality within ourselves. But we have artificially created a duality within ourselves. So that is a psychological problem. Psychologically, there may be problem. Doesn't matter. But the problem will go away. Everything is momentary. The next moment it will go away. But whenever you construct a personality to deal with a problem within yourself, then we are maintaining a duality within yourself and we are having a struggle within ourselves. So if you don't have any struggle within yourself, everything goes very swiftly, very softly, very calmly. Whatever comes, you leave away very easily, very smoothly. We need not struggle with anything. But whenever we giving importance to the I consciousness, the I consciousness may unsatisfied with some unnecessary emotion. I want a good emotion alone. I don't want this bad emotion. It may take a decision like this. So all those decisions to have some good experience, thereby we are entertaining a reality, entertaining a duality within us. So psychologically, we should not give any responsibility, give any work to the I consciousness within ourselves to have any good experience or to get away from bad experience. So the understanding comes, the enlightenment comes with the understanding that the I consciousness we are having does not have any responsibility within itself. But the I consciousness is same with related to this physical world and the subject of the psychological world. The I consciousness is also always psychological. It is same. It is same with related to the external world. It is same with related to the psychological world also. Even though it is common to both external world and internal world, it has duty to the external world, but it don't have any duty to the psychological world. That we have to understand. If we understand the I consciousness, the I am having no work within myself, the I consciousness also undergoes a change. It feels itself a momentary one. Just like everything flows, the I consciousness also gets into flow. So the liberation happens also always to the consciousness. That becomes total. When you do not give importance to the I consciousness, the total psychological structure becomes whole. There is no duality. For example, we are having an apple here. If you roll down an apple, it will very freely flow. Very freely flow. But if you cut down the apple into two And afterwards, if you try to flow, it won't flow. It will be placed wherever it is. You are placed. So in this way, if we divide ourselves into two, the subject and the object within ourselves, then it cannot easily flow. So we should not find any distinction between ourselves and our experience, fear, anger or anything. Everything is one. You need not feel like this. You can understand. You can intellectually understand. You can intellectually come to a conclusion. There is no difference between the I consciousness and the experience of fear or anger, anything. You can intellectually come to a conclusion. The very intellectual conclusion is enough. There is no distinction between the subject and object. And thereby, the consciousness becomes total. The total consciousness is very easy to flow, whereby all experiences, whether it is negative or positive, all experiences flow very easily. Along with that, our I consciousness also will flow. So that is the basic idea about the I consciousness. And we may discuss more according to your question. And previously also in the previous 2 days we have discussed many things about the enlightenment, liberation, psychological work, physical work. And we can ask any question because related to this subject alone, today is the final day, but tomorrow is only for confirmation. What we have understood, we have to confirm. Because if you confirm everything, the matter is over. You can close the file. You need not go here and there. You need not work a lot. You can close the file. So the closing the file is tomorrow. So we need not open the file again and again. We can totally close the file. So we can discuss anything today itself. But tomorrow most of discussion may not be there. Maybe if time permits we may discuss. Otherwise we can confirm. What we have understood, we can confirm the understanding is enough. For that, for the confirmation, we may discuss a little bit. But mainly the confirmation alone will be dealt with tomorrow. And today we can make use of our time for the yesterday or day before yesterday topic or today's topic. We have covered the thing upon 3 topics, and within the 3 topics we can, but the main thing is that we have to understand that we have no duty psychologically. And if you understand that there is no duty psychologically, the very understanding is known as enlightenment. When we understand like this, when we have the enlightenment like this, it results the liberation of our consciousness. And everything we may question anything related to the earlier topic or to the current topic, we can discuss.